Okay, so, out to lunch for the SNES. Very difficult platformer game. Very, very interesting physics. Very slippery. Kind of inconsistent at times. But really the most inconsistent thing about the game are the enemy patterns. Like that mushroom he rarely goes off that way, but it happens. I'm prepared for it. I'm very good at the game. I lose very little time from it. It actually starts out pretty basic and easy, but since I just skipped 7 levels through that warp, we skipped a lot of the basic and easy part. Each level has each world has 8 levels, categorized by countries. So World 1 was Switzerland, World 2 is Greece. We'll see the others later as well. So, the object of the game is to collect ingredients and deposit them in the cage. You have a certain amount of ingredients you need to get per level. In this level it's 8, it's denoted by the number in the top left corner there. But first, we need to go collect our net. Okay, so eggplant's contaminated already. That's not good. But it's workable. Okay, good. The egg got down to me. That's what we wanted. I was worried the egg was gonna get caught up top there. Okay, this is not how this goes. Eggplant down there is actually good too. And that's 8. A lot of what makes this game difficult, though, is the randomness of enemy patterns. But with how it's routed, I typically have backup plans for basically anything that could come up. This is probably one of the more consistent levels here. I basically have it routed out so that all the enemies are just where I need them to be all the time. Missed him, but that's fine. So the little bacteria there, the purple guy going kind of crazy, that's one of the main enemies. Not only can he kill you, which he almost just did, he can also contaminate other ingredients. And when an ingredient is contaminated, you cannot capture it. And also, it tries to kill you. You'll see some contaminated ingredients in this next level here, actually. Usually a potato and sometimes an egg is contaminated up top here. But yeah, potato's contaminated. He's probably... yeah, he killed me. That's fine, though. When you die, you pick up right where you left off. Not a big deal. After some time, the ingredients are decontaminated. They become back to normal. Alternatively, you can also kill them by jumping on them twice. Same with the actual enemies, the bacteria itself. You just jump on it twice to get rid of it. Sometimes it's easy to do, sometimes it's just kind of out of the way so you don't bother. Sometimes you actually go out of your way in order to do it, just so it doesn't contaminate ingredients. Okay. So, we're on the West Indies now. Probably the most dangerous world or country in the game. Just from the plethora of enemies, their randomness of patterns, and just all around difficulty. You don't start with too many lives. There are extra lives scattered throughout the way. However, a lot of them aren't until we're out of the West Indies. Okay, we need to go collect this yellow bacteria. If you get hit by him, he does not kill you. However, he reverses your directions for a while, which can often just lead to your death. Okay, so I just actually killed the bee that also contaminates ingredients and the tomato that it had infected. In this case, it's not a big deal that I killed the tomato, but in certain levels, if you contaminate too many ingredients and you can kill any of the contaminated ingredients, you can actually run yourself out of ingredients. The ingredients don't respawn if they're killed, in which case you would have to just restart the level by pausing and exiting the level quickly. But also, that's very quick and easy. Yeah. Okay, so we're just gonna stun him and take our ride here. Okay, so this is a very difficult level, actually. We're very heavily relying on the patterns of these ingredients to behave, which they have. So we're actually getting through it very fast. Faster than I typically do. There's a bee floating around somewhere. I'm surprised I never even saw it there. But there's a bee flying around there, and he's contaminating literally everything. And sometimes that stage will turn into a whole nightmare, but that was very, very good. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like the randomness of this game sometimes isn't all bad. It's often good. And that was not the teleport I wanted to take. I kind of got distracted and wanted to kill the bee. But we'll take the time to kill a lot of these things and just make it safe for us. I got distracted by the opportunity to kill that bee, though. I will admit that I am not very well practiced at this game right now. It's just not something I've been running lately. However, it's something I pick back up very quickly after putting it down. But I assure you, if this does get accepted, I would be more than well practiced. I would be sick of the game. This is Chef Manoir. I'm actually gonna destroy him for a sec there. He could go up and open your cage. If he opens your cage, your ingredients have a chance to escape. And that is obviously not ideal, because if ingredients escape, the counter goes back up, as if you hadn't collected them in the first place. Okay. This is one of those levels where I go out of my way to kill that bee, because if I don't, by the time I get back up here, pretty much everything is contaminated. Oop, I need the egg. Very difficult jump right here. Missed it. It's possible, but very, very tight to get onto that ledge there. The height that the spring is shooting up is a little finicky. It takes some getting used to. Wow, I'm actually ahead. Like I said. Oh, time? You don't need time in this. That's kind of silly that you would get time here, because all it does is add time to this bonus game that we skip anyways. So, on to the halfway point of the game. We're at 4-1. Not halfway point of the run, though, as the warps become slightly fewer and far between later on, especially in France. Oops, I accidentally missed the door there. The hitbox on the door is kind of finicky, but not so much that it causes any issues. Okay, so hitboxes. Okay, please. There you go. Alright. So this level is... You need more ingredients in this level than any other level. However, this guy right here is really your only chance of dying, which I just made sure I took advantage of. But this is actually a part of the run where it gets considerably less dangerous. I have a very set route through a lot of these levels. And even if something goes wrong, I typically have a very solid backup plan that's usually just as quick. Along the way, there are a lot of safeties I take too. I get 1-ups like right there. Every 10,000 points you get a 1-up, and there was a hidden 1-up in that wall there. I'll get all the not horribly inconvenient 1-ups along the way, but nothing too crazy. But typically, I don't need too many. Surprisingly. This is another warp. It's actually kind of a unique one. It's kind of fun. You can see the warp up here. There's a hidden spring over here. Right in here. Shoots you way up in the air, and you go right in the door. And now we're back onto some of the harder levels. So our flower is hidden back there, and there's actually an invincibility thing hidden right there too, behind the first spring down there. So we're gonna grab that as well because it gets kind of hairy up here. Actually, wasn't bad at all. We're gonna intentionally leave that pepper up there though, because there's a bit of a skip later on involving that. Now the invincibility, it's one of the more generous things this game actually does for you, is let the invincibility last for quite some time. And it lasts long enough for me to get up those spiked platforms typically. If you get stunned for any reason, you lose either 1 or 2 of your ingredients. Okay, so now we're gonna show you what this pepper's left up here for. We're just gonna bounce off of him right up into the door instead of going all the way around. There's invisible platforms up there, much like in the previous... in the West Indies, one of the stages had a lot of invisible platforms. But there's invisible platforms you would typically need in order to get in that door. I just bounce off the pepper instead. This level here is split up into 2 different sides. First, we're going down the right side. We're going to be very careful not to deposit any ingredients. If you deposit ingredients, Chef Lenoir comes out, and he will typically open the cage by the time you can get back up to the top with the rest of them. Oh, goodness. Very, very slippery physics. Anyone who's played this can attest to that. We're actually just going to wait for this potato to decontaminate here. And there he goes. A lot of these platforms here have hidden springs on them. If you hit just one of them, typically it'll send you right back up to the top. So you just want to be very careful going down that little tube there. Bonus game has in store for me now. That's actually ideal, where it gives you nothing. It's a bit of a slowdown for the jingle to play and to give you a reward. That being said, we're still hoping for a reward of bananas or watermelons or lemons, because it just gives you a random amount of points. Okay. This, in my opinion, is one of the hardest levels in the game, and you're about to see why, because I just had a very bad start to it. Well, actually, no, we didn't. Oftentimes, if you take too long to get up here, this yellow bacteria will have contaminated that egg and mushroom already, and we typically get those guys right away. But if they're contaminated, I can't. And I gotta go back and get other stuff. We're gonna risk our life there by the rancid bamboo. Just a lot of the, I mean, obviously a lot of these walls here are fake. Some of them are real. You can't jump up and go through any of them, but just certain ones. This is one of the more straightforward levels in China. China's a very quick world, however, it has its tough parts. We're just gonna collect these guys. There's 6 ingredients along the bottom, and then a bunch more up top. It's actually pretty hilarious watching the contaminated things and the enemies deal with the orange platforms that retract right here. They don't seem to know how to deal with them very well. So here you need to bounce off the spring just right to make it up there, and then it's a very tight jump to the exit. This is one of the hardest levels in the game, if you're trying to take the warp and be fast. You need to get to the door and into the door before the timer reaches 127. Let's see where we get it at. 133. That was actually really good. Got another prize, which loses a little bit of time, but gives us some points. It might lead to an early one up. Okay, on to the last country now, France. Probably the hardest, well, yes, it is the hardest world in the game. It is the last world, and just has a lot of very tight jumps. And a lot of irritating enemies, which, that guy's giving me a strange pattern. I never really have any issue with him. But sometimes I do, I guess. Alright, now on to collecting ingredients now that we got the net. Uh-oh. Usually up here, there's so many ingredients up here that if you get stunned, if it releases 2 of your ingredients, they'll start to despawn. But luckily we only lost 1 there. You mean person. Okay, at least we got to the door just fine. We are very good on lies here still. We have ample lives to finish this game. Sometimes there'll be a mushroom that comes down from above there and kills you right away, but that didn't happen this time. That egg's usually teleported up top, but that's fine that it's not. It's actually preferred that it's not. That jump right there where that mushroom was to the left, remember that spot, because we're gonna have to revisit there. That's where the door spawns. And if you miss, it's the hardest jump in the game. If you miss it, you are in trouble. That popping sound is that's ingredients despawning and respawning. That's a very scary sound to hear once you've deposited your ingredients. Alright, hardest jump on the game right here. Oh, like a pro. Like a pro. If you miss that, you actually end up down at the bottom. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to, you basically end up locked into cycles of these up and down elevator platforms. And becomes a bit of a time sink, but nothing too bad. We're actually going to get a brand new item in this level that we haven't seen before yet. It's called the Golden Net. It's hidden behind here. When you collect items with the Golden Net, it deposits them directly in the cage for you. You'll see right here as I collect these ingredients. They're just popping right into the cage up above me there. And the numbers just going right down for us. Very convenient item for a speedrun. Just doesn't make enough appearances in my opinion. So now we're headed back to the top. I actually always look at the patterns of those two blobs up there, see where they are, if they're there or not. If I see both of them up above me like that, it's very, very good. Because that means it didn't contaminate the tomato and, what was it, mushroom or egg that I just grabbed up there. It means I could grab them right away. This stage is fun. It's got a series of tubes. You basically need to know which tubes to go down and when. I have a pretty consistent route through it. It's very safe. Please don't contaminate anything. I don't care what you do, just don't contaminate my ingredients. However, there is a way to clip through the pipes, as I just did. That's not good. Okay. When the ingredients are off-screen like that, oh, that was actually wonderful. That might... Yep, that saved us a loop around, actually. That was wonderful, clipping. The clips is kind of inconsistent and tough, but it just saved quite a bit of time there. This level I've rerouted, I believe, since I got the world record in this game, but it's kind of small. Basically, I use that onion right there to bounce up and collect these ingredients early. It saves a lot of walking, basically, is all it does. And now we have invincibility. 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's an onion right by the cage, so I'm not going to grab that one up there. Okay. So now we got to go all the way back up to the top to the door. Typically, I have to go all the way up here through this teleporter here, and then back down the tube that's below me right now to go get those first 3 ingredients that I grabbed. So it's pretty nice to be able to grab them early. Now this used to be one of my worst levels when I first started speedrunning this, or when I first tried to beat this. Rather, I just had trouble just clearing this level. It's very difficult for a casual player. Mostly because of that part right here that we're about to deal with. I'm waiting for my controls to get back to normal, by the way. Those jumps right there are very difficult if you just don't know the rhythm to it. Kind of expected that, but not a big deal. Yeah, sure, let's grab the timer. Why not? Only the blue balloons are platforms. The red and white ones are not. And now we make our way back to the top to the cage. And now our way back to the bottom, to the door. Lots of running around. Plenty of time for donation reading, to be honest with you. And now, I always have more trouble going back to the right on those platforms than I do going to the left. I have a really good rhythm in my head for going to the left, but I always take my time going back to the right. Okay, 2 more levels left. These are pretty straightforward. Now that purple guy just teleported up into here. That's not good, because he's just going to go and contaminate everything, along with this yellow bacteria as well. So right now I have 4 ingredients. I need 3 more, or 4 more rather. Let's try and stun him up here. Oh, you failed to land on the platform. That's fine, we'll just wait another cycle on the platform. We should be able to get it on its way back up. Right there. Okay. This is kind of a tricky path to the door. If you don't know that you need to go over here, there's an invisible hole through the floor here. And an invisible platform that you stand on to go through that hole. Very tricky for casual play. And now the last level. Last level, honestly, when I first played it, was kind of let down because it's a little bit easy. We're just gonna not grab the flower there because we don't really need it too much. I'm just gonna wait for this guy to come here so I can kill him, so he doesn't contaminate my ingredients. And time. That was a very good run. I'm very impressed with how I did there. But yeah, that's out to lunch. I hope you consider this for GDQ next year. When you win, you have this little cutscene where the ingredients go and beat up Chef Lenoir for trying to sabotage you. And it'll show your score and name. You can input whatever name you like if you're looking for a donation incentive. But it only appears on the scoreboard anyways. And now the credits. But yeah, that's out to lunch for the SNES. I hope you'll consider it. Thank you very much. Okay.